Are you happy? Are you having a good time? I know I am. I'm a little hungry, I'm a little thirsty, but that's okay, we'll get past that. Because right now, we want to end the SuperMeet as if we can, but we're going to try really hard right now to end it with a bang. Do you want to see a bang on stage? All right, because right now we're bringing back our friends from Autodesk, Mark Amaker and Ken LaRue, to show you the new features of Smoke 2015. Ken?
All right.
Take it away.
End it with a bang. All right. Thank you, Dan. We're really excited to be back here. We knew this was going to be the last presentation of the night, so we did want to have some fun with it, but we also want to show you some of the features in the new Smoke. So there's a lot of things to be excited about. We're introducing Smoke 2015. This is the next big version of Smoke. We've got a lot of things that we're excited about. Ken's going to launch it up, and well, we will have the bang part, but I have a couple slides to show you. I'm too disappointed in that. But we're very excited. So Ken, do you want to bring that up, and can we get Smoke up on the screen? So just to give you a high level, what's new in Smoke 2015 is we've re-architected that whole timeline workflow. You can go to that next one, Ken. Oh, it's waiting. Okay. It runs slides faster than ever. You can see. Then we've re-architected the timeline workflow. We've really enhanced the GPU support to make sure that your effects play back faster. You have more real-time performance. You can see things quicker as you work, either as you edit or as you're conforming a piece and bringing all those effects together. We've added one of the most requested features, which is 3D tracking. Yes, not just for Canaan, but we listen to a lot of people for that. We're supporting back here, it's here, the new Mac Pro. That's what we're going to be running on tonight. And Mavericks, which is cool. We have a great workflow with Final Cut Pro 10, so you can actually bring Final Cut Pro XMLs into Smoke. And we've introduced for the first time the ability to export an XML, although it's still pretty basic, but we are doing that. And then we continue to add a lot of usability enhancements. There's a new tracking, a new trimming workflow and all of that in there. So lots of stuff, a lot of stuff. And then at the bottom you see coming soon desktop subscription plans, because it's never been more affordable to get into Smoke. We realized a lot of people said $3,500 is great, but that's too much up front. It's too hard to pay that. So now you can actually start using Smoke on a term basis, $195 if you go by the month. If you go for an annual plan, that's a year. You can see $1,750, that divides into about $145. So really kind of trying to change the bar as far as making that accessible to people. And I think combined with this new version, people are going to be excited. And the subscription plans are available starting on May 8th. I'm really excited about this. Now, Ken, we've been giving away these books. Can you toss me one of the books, Ken? Can you try again? It's back. Okay, there we go. So I don't know if you guys got this. I only have 2 left, but if you come by the Autodesk booth, we're giving away copies of Alexis von Merkman's Smoke Essentials book. This has been updated for 2015. Alexis is here. Maybe you can get him to autograph it. I don't think he wanted to autograph all 200 copies, but he is here. And what's cool about this is Alexis produced a short film, and that's actually the content for the book, and it's downloadable content, so you can actually download it and work along with it. And to kind of show off Smoke 2015, Ken has created a demo using that footage. So Ken, I'm going to let you take over and show the demo.
Absolutely.
We're going to have it on a bang.
What I want to do here, first of all, is just kind of scrub through some of the shots from Alexis' film. It's a very heavy, effect-driven film. It's a great storyline, it's a great film. He created everything inside the Smoke, all editorial work, all audio, and all the effect shots. Some of the main shots are these heads-up displays that the woman will use in the future. She has contacts in her eyes, and that's what allows her to see her communication, her computers, and so on. And I want to first just go through the steps of how the shot was done, one of the shots. So over here, I've got my timeline. I'm going to zoom in here. We've got a couple elements. I've got a clip of this gentleman. If I go down the bottom layer, you can see that we have the actual woman. She's supposed to be talking to the heads-up display in front of her. In my bins over here, I've got a bunch of different elements that are all animations that were created in Smoke, and we now want to composite them together in 3D space to make them look like they're floating in front of her. The most important part of that is really the depth of field that's part of the actual heads-up display. What's awesome is that's all going to be created in Smoke. But let's first just backtrack and talk about working inside of our timeline. So down in my timeline, I look at my clip. I'm also going to go to a one-view layout right now to focus on the footage that I'm working on. And you can see that I've got my gentleman, this is Arthur, hello Arthur, and he's very dark, okay? I don't like the fact that he's dark, so let's first do some color correction to him before we bring him into the 3D compositor. So if I go to my effects ribbon, you can see I've got a whole slew of different timeline effects that I can now add over to my clip. I'll first put a color warper on this by clicking on it, and you'll see the parameters come in my viewport. They're coming right below my viewport, and I can go and make minor adjustments such as adjusting my black, doing my saturation, but I want to access everything the color correction offers me. So if I click the editor button, you step into the tool. I'm still in my timeline, I'm just exposing everything this tool offers me. So again, I have my whites, my blacks, different color wheels. If I'm using my color board, I can use it right with smoke. But I want to desaturate some elements that are around the back area. I'll brighten that up a little more, like this sign back here. So what's great about this tool is I can use the keying tools built right inside of it. So if I come over and just sample some of that color, you'll see I start pulling a matte. And I'm going to even look at the matte, and you can see that I picked up more than I wanted to. This color cube area allows me to come in, fine-tune this. I can even go and take tools such as softness and make sure I eliminate the parts that I don't want to desaturate. That's good enough. I can also add a little blur to it if I wanted to. Then we'll go back to look at the end result. And if I wanted to change color, you can see I couldn't easily change the color of that. That's not what I'm trying to do. I just want to take the saturation and drag it down. So let me go back out to my timeline. And I want to add another color correction tool to show you another workflow. Because you can feed a mask into each one of the color correction tools to isolate what you want to color correct. So in this case, I'll go add a color correction tool after that. And I'll just take my saturation, I'll drag it a little overboard just for demonstration so you can see it up there. And now I want to add a mask to that to isolate what part of the image I want to focus on. So we're going to go into the garbage mask tool. I'll hit a hotkey. Let's go and start drawing the mask. Now anyone who's done roto work knows when you are doing roto, you want to have as few control points as possible in your mask because it's going to make your job harder. I am purposely adding more than I would ever want just to demonstrate the power of the tracker tools inside the smoke. So now we're going to spend the next 2 hours, and I'm going to do this frame by frame. We're going to animate this.
Bang! Sorry. That's not the bang.
I'll step into the stabilizer, click Analyze, and I'll sit there for 15 seconds while that goes through and analyzes and tracks that mask perfectly for me. This is powerful tracking tools built right in my timeline. Remember, I'm in my editor. I access the tools in the timeline, and Arthur is now done. I'll go back out to my timeline. Thank you very much. I really did a lot there, I can tell. It's the software. I just look good doing it. Let's go over here. I'll take the garbage mask, drag it before the color correction tool, select it, and say use that color. Now we've got an Oompa Loompa of Arthur up there, but he's very orange. But if we scrub through this or play it back, we've achieved the color correction that we want. Now I want to introduce you to what's called Connect Effects. So great timeline tools when you're in your timeline, but Connect Effects is also accessible in the timeline. It's just you're going to step into another part of the software. Think that you're leaving your editor and going to a different application, but you're really not, because you stay in one environment. With this clip selected, I go over to my tools. I'm going to just pick a property. I want to convert these tools into Connect Effects. I click Connect Effects. We step into our node-based compositor. It gives me the footage, the original color correction, the animated garbage mask that I just made, and the new color correction. But more importantly, a whole set of more tools that I can now use. I'm just going to go in here and do exactly what they did in the film. And I'm wondering if this Alexis is still in the room, but we'll get to that in a second. Because we have different presets. Maybe we want this to be a bad VTR. So now I've got my bad VTR. Maybe I want this to be an old sepia. Now I got an old sepia. All they did is, this is actually what they did, is they went and they turned on their analog and they added scan lines and they adjusted the scan lines. My question to Alexis, this is the future, why are there scan lines? But this is our future. Let me exit out of that and go back to the timeline. So now I have the end result. I want to start compositing him in 3D space in front of this woman. I go back down to my clip again, and I want to also start adding more of these elements into 3D space. Here's where it's going to get really interesting. So this clip up here is what we call a Connect Effects clip. It has all those tools in that node-based compositor. When I select both these clips, and I come back over to my effects ribbon, I'll tell it to create a 3D composite automatically for me. When I choose Connect Effects, it takes all the tools, brings them in, but adds an action tool, which is our 3D compositing tool. So now, go ahead and applause. I like that one too. When I step into my action tool, inside the action tool I have different nodes. Understand these nodes are relationship nodes and control whatever is going to be happening to the different elements in 3D space. Let me just change the purpose, and I'll go back to my object. So if I want to rotate Arthur, I want to move him around and change him, that's great. Let's go and take another element. We want to find my Arthur chat room, drag that in there. I would take all 16 of them in, but I have a setup to show you in just a second. Let's take this, switch this to a screen mode. Let's take Arthur, let's scale him down, just take him right in the viewport position. Well, that's the wrong guy. We'll select the Arthur flip, this one here, and I'll bring him up and position him wherever I want him to be, and so on. Now we need to make sure that it follows the camera tracking of the original plate. So if I scrub through, it's not doing that. Now I could take each one of these axes and track them independently, but that would be really not an efficient workflow. I'll go back to my action bin and take another axis. I'll just double click on that, and we'll step into the tracker.
Now, this is not the 3D tracker.
We haven't got to the 3D tracker yet. No. Don't blow from the mark. Just hold on. Throw that
I
away.
didn't come to rehearsal, so I didn't.
You weren't invited to rehearsal for a reason, by the way. But anyways, it's another story. Let's go in here, let's go back into the tracker. I'll take the point, I'll position it by the light. I just click Analyze again. I know I'm focusing a lot on the tracker, but you really can see how powerful this is. This is all our 2D tracker. The point of doing this on an independent axis, though, is I can use that as the parent for many different layers. So I don't have to repurpose the animation or manually do the animation. I'll just kiss and connect those. Now that is my master. I can even take it further by taking another axis and build a hierarchy, so I can now rotate this, scale it down, start positioning it where I want it to be. Then you still have the independent control of each layer to move things in 3D space. Now this is what we did, and I'm going to open a setup for you very quickly, because as I said, there's like 12 different layers, and we don't want to spend that much time. But once it opens up, you'll see it's a little more complicated. Let me zoom in just to make sure everything's good. It is. I'll take my output, my main output to my timeline, and add it in here. We're going to go into the action tool, and you can see all it is multiple layers. I'll take the axis as I did before, just kiss them all and connect them. And then I'm going to add one more axis, just like I showed you before, and I'll rotate this one so it's in 3D space. You can see what I did. I spaced them out in Z depth so that I can create depth of field. Now, if you're familiar with a 3D application, you understand what depth of field is. You can create a black and white image to control what elements are closer to the camera and one closer and further away from the camera. What's beautiful about smoke is I can do that also. I'm going to first hide my back layer. I don't want her in here. And then we'll go to our outputs. You'll notice that I can output out of my action tool, my ambient occlusion, my shadows, my Z-depth, mats, and so on. Stepping back out to connect effects, I'll zoom in here. There's my node. You see I have multiple outputs. Let's go to our tools. Let's get our depth of field tool. I'll drag it into the field, and I'll take the output of the Z-depth and feed it in. I double click on that, and let's go and increase the blur. So you'll see it's going to blur everything, but that's why I have my depthogram. Yeah, I got one of those. So I'll take my depthogram and just position it, and I can control what layers in Z-space will be in focus. Now, I've got that element. I want to composite the woman, the back plate, back over this. There she is. So let's bring her over so I can get to her easy. Let's go back and get another action tool. I'll make the background her, and I'll create a new layer. There we go. I can hardly see it. And let's go and connect that to that. And then we just want to go into my action tool and change the transfer mode of the output from the other action tool and the depth of field. And now I've created the end result that was done inside the film. More importantly, I go back out to my timeline. If I need to change anything, I have one click button and back inside of it. All right, so that was a lot of 2D tracking I showed you. Let's take a look at the 3D tracker.
That's a good introduction to the timeline and how the effects have been overhauled. Very fast, very easy to work with.
So I'm going to take this clip, just so you know, inside the film, what they did is, I'm going to come up here and show you that. They had the live action footage of the woman. They created a 3D track inside of the smoke, and they're able to export the 3D track and all the point clouds to 3ds Max or Maya. The same camera that is in smoke is the same camera that's in Max and 3ds Max and Maya. We can exchange our cameras back and forth. In this case, I'm just going to try to have a little bit of fun, and I want to go and add elements into the scene that were not there.
So this is the bang part, right?
Not yet, but close. Okay. So I'm going to go into the editor, and I have an action tool. I'll step into it so you can see what I have. So we have the footage, we have the axis, we have the original camera, then I have my analyzer. So this is the new 3D analyzer inside of Smoke. I'm just going to click Analyze and let's start processing, and it's quite fast. But to let you know that if you did have a mat on your image, you can use that to control where the camera will solve itself and where either inside or out the mat. You've got a whole bunch of different, okay, wow, that was way faster than I expected. I'm going to stop talking. It is that Mac Pro, it's very nice. So let's take a look at these. This is my point cloud. You got to orbit the view. Ooh, yeah, okay. And we also have this view that's showing me all of my trackers. Now I left it set to default, and it gave me way more trackers than I really need. So you can go into your fine tuning tab here. We can start to adjust our quality and our short, which means any trackers that don't stay on enough frames, you can delete them. I'll choose delete. You'll see a bunch of them disappear, and I'll update my camera. So now this means it's going to resolve the camera based on only the clean trackers that I just created, and it'll give me a better result. That's done. Let's go to my schematic once again. As you can see, I have no axes yet. What I love about this is you choose what trackers you want to have as axes, because there's just so many. I don't want to have too many. But if I select one right here on the table, I'll take that one actually, and I choose Create Axis, you'll notice what Smoke does. It creates a new axis node that I can use to attach a 2D logo, a 3D logo, 3D text, and so on. So here I'm going to rename this just for organization. I'll name that table. Now I might want to relight this, so I'm going to go and select another axis over here and say Create an Axis, and I'll take this one and I'll rename this and call it Light, because I'm going to use it for my lights. Now we're going to import a piece of geometry. So I want to put a water bottle that wasn't in the scene, floating on the table, sitting on the table, and follow the camera movement. So if I go over to my tools, I double click on import, I can navigate to a folder, I make sure the FBX, 3ds Max, Alembic, all the different file formats that you can bring in. I'll come in here, I'll select this water bottle, I'll bring it in. Now it's brought in, but you don't see it until I take the axis and I connect it. Now I've got this giant,
This is,
I'm in the middle of a demo.
I know, but you've been showing this water bottle all week, it's kind of boring.
It's a nice water bottle.
Yeah, but we're not advertising for whatever water bottle company. I thought you had something special.
Okay, Dan and I have been working on something. I didn't want to bring it up right now.
Well, I think you should. I don't have
Dan,
a fight in front
Dan,
of
is
you
it
guys,
okay?
but I think you should.
Dan, are we okay if I bring this up?
Yes.
Okay. All right. I'll get rid of the
I was
water
just
bottle.
behind stage trying to have a ball.
Oh my God.
Oh my God. We did not rehearse that.
That was not part of my event, okay?
Ken, what do you think of my balls?
They're very blue.
Is there an HR person in the house?
I'm going to throw away the water bottle, and I'm going to step out for just a second, and I want to play a little video for you. I'm going to need audio here on my system. We have audio ready? I hope so. Wait, zoom. Bear with me, people. I'm doing the wrong thing. Let's go and zoom in, and I'm going to hit play. I did it. No, I didn't. I'm sorry.
We're live here at Autodesk in Waltham. We're going to model my head in 3D with 1, 2, 3D catch. What's really neat about this is that anyone can sign up for a free Autodesk account to use 1, 2, 3D Catch.
So 123D Catch is a free application from Autodesk. You can go to 123dapp.com, you sign up, all you do is put your email in there and a password, and you can access a whole bunch of different applications that are totally free. And what Dan did for us, we did obviously cahoots with him before we came in, is he went and took from his iPhone pictures of himself or his iPad all around himself. And what that allows you to do then is send those still images up to the cloud to 123D Catch, and it actually creates a model for you. And then you can download that model and import it into programs like 3ds Max, Maya, and Smoke. So instead of a water bottle, we thought it'd be fun to bring Dan's head into this scene. Okay? So let's go back over here. I'm going to step back into my setup. We were working, so again, I got my tracker. So here's the axis that I was using for the water bottle until Mark brutally interrupted me. I will now choose import, and we're going to step up just a little bit. And I got a folder called Dan's Head. Every computer has a folder named Dan's Head. I'll come in here, we'll take Dan, and we'll say, hey Dan, come on in. Now, Dan's going to come in, and I'm going to connect them just like I did the water bottle. And hello. Now I have this giant model of Dan's head that's been brought into my scene. We're going to take that, first of all, let's scale him down. I know he has a big head, he's got a lot of ego, but let's just bring him down a little bit. Okay, so there he is. We put him on our table. You see I can scrub, now he's there. I can't believe that woman's not screaming at this moment.
But I don't know what she's working on, but that's mad science right there.
But then it got even weirder. because all of a sudden, we were doing Dropbox and sharing files and going back and forth, and I wanted to come in here, and all of a sudden I got a new model that showed up, and I was like, okay, what's this? So I'm just going to take the new model and drop it in, and suddenly I had this. And I'm like, what the hell is going on? What's Dan doing? And then we realized, everyone knows for a fact that Dan does have a brother. So all of a sudden Don shows up, and we're like, what the heck's going on with his brother? So let me connect him into my scene. So I've got a second head. We're just going to rotate him a little bit and move him over there. Wait, what did I do? Bear with me, people. What did I do wrong? Oh, don't blow my demo, man. There he is. Hello, buddy. So we can rotate him around this way.
Don't make them kiss.
What?
Don't make them
Yeah,
kiss.
right. No, I won't.
Actually, you might.
What actually,
Foreshadowing.
but what you guys don't realize, and this is the real secret we're about to reveal, and I'm probably going to get in big trouble for this, but Dan has two more brothers, Paul and Gene. Wait a minute, let me show you who they are. Okay, so that's not the makeup that him and his brothers wear on a regular basis. So I'm going to take my axis and just connect it, and we're going to vary then, take our guys and start to move them where we want. Don't rotate it anymore, Ken. Here's another one. Oh my gosh. Take this one, and there's another one. But that's not the right makeup. That's not what they wear.
No.
Of course not. We're just going to say, who are you? Then we got this guy, and then we got this guy, and then we got this guy. Let's add a light in the scene now. So I take my light. I'm going to select my light and track it to the light tracker that I had over here, right? We want to make this look realistic. Well, there we go. No. We want to go this way. So now I've got my light, so we can now take this in 3 space, move this back. There is what actually ended up happening. So don't tell anyone outside this room, but Dan and his brothers are actually kids. Okay?
And if you don't believe it,
I'm gonna need audio one more time, please, on my Mac. Are we ready? Crank it up, baby.
all right. You can lower that. You can keep that up. So that was having a little bit of fun with some of the tools in Smoke, and we hope you guys enjoyed it. I don't know if it was the bang you were hoping for, but we do have one additional thing. Dan, are you here? Can you come up on stage? Because we're, of course, showing that you can take these, you can do this reality capture and bring things into a piece of software. Dan, come here. The other thing you can do is you can actually bring it back out into reality, right? So you could take a capture of something, and then you could make a model of it.
I showed it too early, so go ahead.
Oh, wow. So some of the guys in
Here
San
comes
Francisco,
the bang, baby.
they worked this up. They wanted to create, I asked them to create a full-size version of your head. And well, they said there wasn't that much resin available. So they did make this, and they made a few modifications. This is Danonius.
You're
And
being
Ken,
too
I
kind
think
to
you
me.
can show,
This is what Dan is receiving.
Can you get that?
and that's for you. Thank you, Dan. And thank all of you, and please check out Smoke, check out Alexis's new book. Come see us at the booth.